myself, and what I saw in him, I saw me, but I felt like when the world saw Alton Sterling, they don't see the same thing that I see. And I think when a lot of boys look at them, black boys look at themselves, we see ourselves different from the world that sees us. Like, a lot of the world, they look at us, they see danger. When I see the black boy, I see endangered. You know what I'm saying? So for me, like, this is a letter to tell black boys that their value is not tied to a sport. Like, you don't have to dribble, you don't have to catch a ball to be successful in life. There's so many other opportunities for you, because a lot of times where we come from, we feel like someone rolls you a ball and just says good luck. But like now it's like, all right, all these opportunities, how about we hand them a camera, introduce them to that possibility? That's how about we hand them a sketchbook so they know that it's all possible, because we don't really get to see ourselves in all these different fields. So we prepare them for this game of football, like they're working on their routes, they're running and trying to get faster from the youngest ages, working on their jump shots, whatever. But we're not really spending as much time preparing them for the game of life, which is the ultimate game they will have to win at.
And this is needed. When I was a little boy, man, I tried to find books to read on African Americans, men who were role models, because I didn't have a dad in my life. My mom raised 7 kids, and I was always in pursuit to try to look at black men, how I can be, who I could model my life after. And there are very few things outside the athletic realm that you can read. So it is necessary that I'm glad that you found it and were able to put it out there. And you've been dreaming about this for a long time. I've had you on other shows and everything. I'm glad you finally were able to get it out there.
That's what we talked about at the Pro Bowl.
Yes.
So the thing what you just said, only 6% of children's books represent kids of color. Right? So you think about kids, reading is very imperative to the community. 76% of black boys aren't reading up to grade level about in 4th grade. Right? So if you think about the percentage, they're more likely to jump out. 1 out of 3 out of every black boy is likely to go to jail between the ages of 20 and 34.
Wow.
Right? And a lot of it stems from reading. Like, a lot of them, they don't feel like they're reading up to reading level. And
seeing yourself as a young person depicted in the books you're reading is so, like, this is where representation matters. This is where Black Panther matters. And like,
yes,
and
Wakanda matters because of that.
It absolutely matters, because it let little kids that weren't just little white kids say, oh, I'm being a superhero.
Yes.
Like, and to Chris's point, we've seen popularized in pop culture, black kids know, okay, I can, entertainment industry, sports or music, or okay, that's one path, but things like this, you've talked about coding, you've talked about STEM things to where kids can see the other avenues for them. I'm curious about the artwork though on the front, because I admit I haven't read the book.
Yes.
The kids are running. I assume there's a reason that they're running from it. Having not read the book, there might be a dumb question.
What you're touching on right now is what I call black kids don't get to experience escapism. Like, all our stories, the stuff we give are our harsh realities. Like, we get He Got Game. Those are great films, but we don't get to go to Wakanda. We don't get to go to Hogwarts. We don't get to go be in Star Wars. You don't get to see represented.
You don't get to use your imagination.
We don't get to use our imagination. So when we have what we try to escape for our actual realities, we try to escape from where we are. We never get to dive into these other worlds. And escapism is important because when you visit other worlds, you realize your world doesn't have to be the way that it is, and you could change it. The way that this art is, the idea of this book is all these kids are running for freedom. And the freedom is the freedom of self. I think that the ultimate freedom that any human being really wants to experience is the freedom to be themselves without the fear of being judged. So if you think about the artwork, there's no faces or facial expressions on these characters throughout the entire book. And that's mainly because every character is you, every character is me. So we should be able to see ourselves reflected in these stories, because we are every single one of these boys running through this maze. So this maze is about the maze of life. How do we find it? There's so many different paths that kids could go down. They don't have to go through the same way to get to their finish line.
So talented. If you want to see more of some of the artwork that both you and your daughter has been so successful doing, check them out on Instagram. Seriously.
Shout out to Jet. She's the dopest artist I know.
Very, very
if I may say one thing real quick for our white folks watching the show, black kids forever been reading stories with white characters, with what, you know what I mean, that are focused around, intentionally or not, a white protagonist. Just because it's called Dear Black Boy and it's a story to kids of color, doesn't mean the white parents out there can't buy this for their kids. Doesn't mean they can't get a lot from it.
And I think that's super important, because we learn empathy through reading. So when white kids get to read about black kids, they realize that black kids are just like them. They like magic, they like going out of space, they enjoy the same thing. So now we have something in common, and I learned that. And I get to put myself in your shoes through literature.
Martellus, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Good luck
Congrats.
with everything.
Thank you, man. This is the 3rd book. They never thought I could do it. I read a whole company now.
More first things first right after this.
Yeah.
Well, your 5th grade teacher that told you wasn't going to be